This is Good Noticing.
Well, hello. It's beautiful out. Are you happy? Ashley is doing something that I really want to talk about right now.
Okay.
She is wearing a sweater she made herself by hand, and I just want to give a fucking round of applause. It looks phenomenal. It literally looks like it was made for you. It fits you perfectly.
It was made for
me.
me.
So cool. The color is perfect, and I am in awe because and I'll admit it, for years now, you've been talking about your knitting skills, and you've been working on the same 6 rows of a scarf, and I was always like, okay. I am so proud and impressed by what you've accomplished. I feel like you just hunkered down. We have a shared YouTube account because we're like one of those old couples who has like an AOL email or something.
It's always like, wait, how to pick up stitches on
Literally, it's always like looking up ourselves or how to pick up a stitch. And I've been via the YouTube search history seeing your progress, and it looks so good, and I'm so proud of you. And
thank you.
Congrats.
I'm really happy with how it worked out. I feel like I've been talking about it a lot. I feel like I've really been milking the shit out of this sweater, but I really am proud of myself for finishing it. And I'm really happy that I really like it.
I mean, it really fits perfectly. And how much of that was just like luck?
Well, I chose the sweater based on a specific pattern that I thought had the fit that I wanted. I mean, you can like pick the size and the measurements that you're aiming for. Obviously, anything can go wrong in process. Like if you have a bigger, looser stitches or tighter stitches, like there are things that can affect like the overall size of the sweater kind of the whole time. But luckily it all worked out. I was definitely petrified because I blocked it, which is where you like wash.
I saw your video pre-block and I went, yeesh.
Yeah, it didn't look great, but I knew
it was coming.
That it was coming. So essentially blocking is when you like soak a wool garment, a knit garment in water to wash it, and then you lay it out to dry, and it like helps relax the stitches, and it helps the overall like drape of the fabric essentially, I guess, and while also washing it, which you need because I'm using wool that I've been like just throwing on the ground everywhere, And so I blocked it. It went really well. I've seen blocking horror stories. That's what I was going to say is like sometimes you can't entirely predict how something will block out. Obviously, there are ways you can anticipate, but I've seen people like block their sweater and then their sleeves grow like not a foot, but like way too much. And they have like goddamn Ariana Grande arms. And I really didn't want that for this sweater. So I was nervous and I was really happy with how it worked out.
Yay. Well, you look phenomenal. I'm really impressed.
Thank you.
I'm really inspired.
Thank you.
And Ashley, do you have any updates for the team?
We are going to be in Boston for our next edition of Book Club in June. Exact date TBD, but we will be reading Kin by Tayari Jones, and I'm really excited about it. On the Patreon, we'll be having discussions about it leading up, and then obviously the panel discussion that we have at our live book club will be posted to the Patreon for continued conversation. Claire, do you have any recommendations?
I do. I've been living life to the fullest, man. Okay, one's an old school throwback.
Okay.
I watched Bridesmaids over the weekend. I'm like shooting a short in a couple weeks, and obviously as a woman from the 90s, one of the great comedic inspirations. We only got 6, and one of them is Bridesmaids.
Luckily, it's so good.
Can I say, Melissa McCarthy,
a revelation.
She's so fucking funny in it, and Wendy McLendon Covey, hilarious. Also of note, why didn't they let Maya Rudolph's character have one black friend? Not even a black cousin.
Such a good question.
And like, I'm looking at the wedding scene. There's like 200 people at that wedding. Like all of those parties are particularly attended. Do you know what I mean? They all have like huge attendance. Let her have a black friend. But other than that, phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
She lives in Chicago/Milwaukee.
That's famously not a black person in science.
It's just interesting stuff. So that's one. If you're looking for a funny movie to kick back with, I really recommend that. And then number 2 is Lazar.
Oh yeah, Lazar. How do you say it?
I don't know. He kept saying, here's how you'd say it in Hungarian, and here's how you'd say it in English. And I said, buddy, I can only handle one pronunciation at a time, so let's start with the right one and see where we land. You know what I mean? Like, shoot for the moon, maybe you'll land among the stars. But I was like, you can't be giving me the stars and the moon as a GPS situation. I'm going to end up on Mars and sound insane.
He being the author who we interviewed last week.
We got to interview the author, Emilio Biederman, last week. I loved this book. I thought it was really beautiful. And I know it's like a big deal, but he's only 22. I think he wrote it at 21. And I do think there was something very exciting about being like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful book for like someone so young to write. Like, I wonder where this is going, but I really recommend it. The English translation recently came out. It came out this month and I loved it. So that's my book rack this week. It was an honor to get to chat with him about it. And then my recommendation number 3 is like an A and a B.
Oh, okay.
My A is copying your Pinterest exactly. I got cushions for my backyard that after like pinning like 20 Pinterests, I finally found out that all of the cushions I liked were from the exact same company. And I just said, fuck it. I'm doing exactly what my favorite one did because it was very customizable. And I just copied it to a T. I just said, Claire, don't get fancy. You're not smart. Do what you like. Click what you see. Okay. And I clicked it and I got it exactly. And I can't even express to you the joy.
It looks so good. It looks like sunny.
One day we're going to have an Aperol Spritz out there and lives will be changed. But even just like looking out there every day now that the flowers are growing and blooming and stuff, it's so beautiful. And I will say my part B recommendation, and I say it tentatively, it is expensive. It was like an investment in the rest of my life. But I got this fabric from this British company called the Colors of Arley, which allow you to customize the stripes, the color, the thickness, the texture. Like it's like super customizable. They specialize in like stripes and bright colors and a lot of fun prints. And then they also have like their faves, like fancy people who have already customized, and you can just pick their double because I was not going to be able to put 2 colors together. I don't have an eye like that. But I copied one of the colors exactly. And I have to say, I love it so much. If you're looking to splurge on like some fun fabric, I've seen some really fun like dog beds. I've seen really fun, like if you get a vintage chair and need like a new fun fabric for it. I don't know. I'm having so much fun with it. I guess I'm obsessed with British stripes because my wedding tablecloths were also a British company that does stripes. Summerall and Bishop, they do tablecloths, and it was also thick stripes. I'm addicted to stripes from England. What can I say?
I would love to do a custom dog bed. The problem is Bug like loves her bed so much. I've thought about getting a cuter one that I think like a fun colored one.
It's not really up to you.
One time she ripped it. One time she like shredded it.
I remember when Bug doesn't accept a bed into her life, the way that first of all she'll sleep whole body on floor, toes on bed, like is this how it's so uncomfortable, I can't even imagine how I'm supposed to put my body in it. Or she'll just rip it to shreds.
Yeah, well she accidentally ripped this one because she'll like burrow into it because she loves it. And so then because it was ripped, I threw it out and put a different one there. And she was like, fuck you, this sucks. I had to buy the same one again. She like wouldn't sleep on it. She's
very particular.
She would like stay up all night. She would stand on my bed and just like
be like, well, where am I supposed to go? You put a cinder block where my bed used to be.
This whole apartment is your bed. And yet I feel like an asshole now.
She's very particular. Maybe she would like it. Colors of Arley. It's, listen, top notch. Bug is not somebody that can be bought by a label.
No, not at all.
It either speaks to her heart or it speaks not at all. Anyway, those are my 3 recs. Ashley, what about you?
Okay, my recommendations. Okay, final sweater associated recommendation. I used Blue Sky Fibers wool stock for this sweater, and I am so happy with how it feels. That was another thing that I was really nervous about is when I did my gauge swatch, which is where you like knit a small square of fabric so that you like know how your sizing is looking, and then also just like how it's going to work up generally. I posted it on my Instagram and someone responded and said, that looks itchy. And that comment haunted me for, I guess, the 4 months it took me to make this sweater. Like, I was so scared. It's also so
crazy to, like, as a viewer from thousands of miles away, be like, you're holding it, but I bet I have a better sense. I bet I can tell you something you haven't thought about while you were touching it.
And like touching it, it didn't feel itchy, but I was like, I can't explain why it was so haunting to me.
Well, I understand, but still.
Like, feel how not itchy it is.
Oh, it's really soft.
It's regular wool. Like, it's not juiced in any way.
Sure.
And so I feel really happy about it. I love the color. I love how it feels. I love how it blocked out. And so I really recommend this yarn if you're looking for a worsted weight wool yarn.
What's worsted mean?
It's like the thickness of the yarn. There's like all different weights. And this is like kind of a middle.
Has anyone asked you where your sweater's from yet?
No, but I haven't really encountered another person besides you.
I can't wait. How good is that going to feel?
I made it.
I've only ever been able to be like, oh, I thrifted it.
Yeah. But this is the thrifted final boss.
It's actually the opposite of thrifting. It was like so new it didn't even exist yet. You made it exist out of nowhere.
You know what people do on Knit Talk? They will go to a thrift store, buy a sweater that they don't like the fit of, but they do like the yarn of, unravel the entire sweater and re-knit it into a sweater they like more.
Man, sometimes I just sip straight from the lid and not use a straw, and I'm like, wow.
I'm really helping the environment here.
Look at me be a part of a community. Anyway, okay. So great. What are your other two?
Okay, both of these are going to be local, but one of them you can buy online. But I really recommend them. One, we have talked about the restaurant Amaza Cafe before. They have a deli that opened up the week before I moved right by my old apartment.
I have such bad Schadenfreude or whatever about that. I was going to no, nobody can have it. Because I love Amaza Cafe.
Good. Okay, so Amaza Deli is in East Williamsburg. It's so good. And they have a fried rice.
That's crazy.
That is bananas.
But why would they have that? They're an Italian deli.
Claire, they just have it. They just have it, and it's so fucking good. I had to go pick up a package from my old apartment last week, and so I went and I got another fried rice for the memories. And I just sat in my old driveway eating it before I rang the doorbell because the guy who lives in my apartment now was in a meeting. I just sat there and I ate my rice, and I thought, I'm happy.
Oh my God, a lot of you guys ate my pea pasta from last week and confirmed that it was delicious. And I'm going to do a video about how to make it.
Oh,
because I'm really honored. I'm really in my chef era. Watch out, Allison Roman.
Yeah.
It's Claire Parker now. She knows about peas.
And then my third recommendation, I got a candle at the farmer's market this week, but they sell online. The company is called King Energy Only. And
oof, tough stuff to have to type out.
It's called King Energy Only. I got the citrus scented one because I love citrus scented stuff, but I was torn between the flavors she had. They all smelled transcendent. And then this is what really got me. This is what sent me over the friggin' edge is that each candle on the lid, it has a QR code that links to a playlist to vibe with the candle.
Oh my God. Do you know what kind of songs were on your...
I can pull it up.
What was the vibe of it?
The vibe was moody fun time. A little bit sexy, but not for sex. It wasn't a sex playlist. West Coast Love by Emotional Oranges. I haven't heard that song yet, but it sounds really good. The Internet, Kelly Ooks.
Cool. That's really good.
I mean, it's a lot of artists I don't know really. So it was kind of a fun Discover Weekly in a way where you're okay, here's a fun way to find new music that is outside of my algorithm because I feel like they've really stopped letting you find music. And you also have a candle.
That's awesome.
And I love a candle.
This was at the Fort Greene Farmers Market?
Yeah. And she said she'd be back there a lot in the coming weeks this summer, etc. But also you can buy it online. So I highly recommend. She makes them in New York. They're hand poured.
And they smell delicious.
Smell delicious.
Ashley, should we tell the people what we're talking about this week? We've got a lot. We've got tons of quick and dirties, you know?
Yeah, we're kind of bursting at the seams.
We're talking about the Cut article about the girl who stopped being friends with someone because they were on Ozempic. We are talking about the London Marathon. You guys know there's not a marathon in sight that we're not going to discuss. We are talking about the assassination attempt on our dear president.
Oh my God, not again.
Why are they so mad and why are they always missing?
One more attempt and I'm going to start to suspect something nefarious is at foot.
We're talking about hot girls. Can they get cheated on? What does it mean for the rest of us if women like Emrata and Megan the Stallion are getting cheated on? I listened to an Esther Perel talk. We're going to have a conversation about the conversation.
Yeah. And we all know cheating is the worst thing someone can do. But what about stealing? Hasan Piker
and Gia Tolentino
said stealing is not that bad if you're doing it from corporations. And centrists from the Atlantic Opinions column
shot them in the head and said, you put back that hot bar rice and we will kill you for what you've done to Whole Foods.
If you think you deserve a lemon, you should actually just walk into the road. I hope there's a bus coming.
Writers for the Atlantic have written an article so obtuse you have to wonder who's paying them.
Oh, Alex Cooper. She has a business and it doesn't seem that great to work for.
Yeah, there was a big Business Insider expose about the yellings of Matt Kaplan, who is Alex Cooper's husband and co-owner of the Unwell Network. And what's their father company?
Trending,
the company.
Can I say, I know that I pick too long of names every time we've ever named a company.
No, the SEO isn't good.
But Trending is, I think, worse than anything I've ever picked out.
Anyway, we will be discussing a little bit of background on the business end of what's going on as we all wait on bated breath for Alex Earl. And can I say right here, what time is it?
I'm starting to think, baby, there's not going to be a plane.
It's 1 p.m. exactly.
Uh-huh.
It's Monday, April 27th.
Uh-huh.
I suspect that Between now and time of release, Alex Earl will have come out with a statement of some sort.
She fucking better.
At
tell you what.
which point we will have to get it back on mic. But so I guess if there is no statement, I look like a fool. We're leaving this in no matter what. But if there is a statement, I guess this is right where we'll cut and I'll go, well, hello, it's Wednesday now.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just feel it's time.
It's been time.
She's losing the people. It's looking suspicious. What is she waiting for, the Serial podcast? Free Adnan, free Alex. They're all free, actually. Both Alexes are free and rich as fuck. So,
but only one can win. Speaking of the winner, Mr. Beast. He's also under fire for potentially having an unsafe workplace for women.
Ashley did the research into the Mr. Beast situation. This is the first time I'm hearing and even thinking that a woman would work for Mr. Beast. Who is it, Belle? And why would you ever... How could you even think that that'd be a good place for you? I'm actually scared to say mean things because I think he has like some of the angriest 14-year-olds in the world who will like come to my house and give me a million Pokemon paper cuts and then watch me bleed out and plead innocence because they're children.
And it was all probably part of the game. If you can withstand 1 million Pokemon paper cuts, he would have given you $1 million.
The thing about Mr. Beast is one time he saw how many school buses you could stack. And I was like, well, thanks. Thanks for doing the research.
I think the thing about Mr. Beast is he said Reese's peanut butter cups, you can't even feast on those.
Okay, anyway, Ashley, do you want to tell me about the update of the marathon? I'll tell you what I know.
Okay.
And you could fill in the holes.
Go ahead.
This week at the London Marathon, a brand new world record for the marathon was set. True. And two men beat 2 hours, which is like fucking psychopath shit.
Never before been done.
And I saw a video about the man who won. And he seems amazing. Can you tell me about him?
Sebastian Sawe ran a 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30-second marathon.
That makes me puke in my mouth.
The previous world record was set at the Chicago Marathon in 2023, 2 hours and 35 seconds.
Wow. So he dashed that shit.
He dashed that shit. And I looked up how to say everyone's names. I want to be upfront here. I looked up how to say all of the names that I'm about to say, and I found like 6 different videos that all pronounced all of them differently, and they all seemed like from reputable sources. So I am going to say all these names wrong, and I want it to be known that I attempted.
Yeah.
Okay. Yomif Kajelka
was
second place. He ran the marathon in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 41 seconds. So
I wonder how he feels.
I think he feels amazing, because can I tell you something about Yomif? That was his first ever fucking marathon.
Oh my God. What? What? This feels very Barbara Streisand, like being like, no, I just am pretty sure I can sing. And then like singing for the first time in her life at like a Broadway audition.
I mean, it's not his first race as a professional runner, but this was his first marathon.
That is insane. And what had he be doing? What had he be doing previously? I'm leaving it. Leave it in. What had he be doing?
I don't know. He's a professional runner though. He'd been doing other events.
Isn't our boy Sebastian similar? That he was a runner of a different kind?
So Sebastian made his debut at the 2024 Valencia Marathon. He won with 2 hours, 2 minutes, and 5 seconds.
And then I know that he ran a sub 2 hours, but they did it in what they're calling controlled situations, and that they had like a team of men run around him to break the wind.
So that was Eliud Kipchoge ran a 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 40-second marathon in an exhibition in 2019 that is not officially counted as a world record because he had like pacers, a pace car. It was not an open field race.
And they had teams of men to break the wind, right?
Yeah.
Like they had 6 teams of other elite runners who ran around him so that he would have like
it was like this really
less
intense
resistance.
Project 2 hours situation where like there was an entire operation that went into trying to get this one man to run a sub 2 hour marathon.
That's so funny because these other two just did it.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't just do it. I think they worked so hard.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because the marathon records have gone down so substantially in the last couple decades. Now the record is broken almost every year or two.
Wow. It's so scary to know like the limits of man. You know what I mean? We're closing in on it. Like how much faster could we even fucking go? What is do you know the mile pace of what it takes?
I believe it was like 435 minute miles.
That's crazy.
Imagine running like, do I want to say 1 mile? And I want to say like, can you do a quarter of a mile at that pace?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I ran the 400 in high school and I think that was like exactly.
So then it would have been a minute.
Yeah, I was running like 72nd 400s.
Wow.
So me at my like all out high school sprint, that would make me puke. But that for
times
4 times 26. Yeah.
For like a full just under 2, exactly under 2 hours.
Like I couldn't have gone 405 meters at that pace.
Sawe has now won all 4 major marathons that he's raced.
Wow.
So every time he's gotten out there, he's won. And then I think some other news that isn't getting the same fanfare because it is not like a sub 2 hour feat. But Tiggs Assefa, the woman who won the London Marathon in the women's field, also set a world record.
What was her time?
Her time was 2 hours and 15 minutes and 41 seconds.
That's so fast.
And guess who she beat?
You.
Yeah. Herself. She already had the world record, but she was faster than her own world record.
Wow.
Her previous record was 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 50 seconds. So she was 9 seconds faster than her own previous world record setting time. Also of note, there is a time for 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 56 seconds that was set in 2024, but that was disqualified during drug testing.
Do you know what the fastest marathon, a route that's considered the easiest in terms of hills and stuff that people
I guess
often
I would
PR at?
Probably say London because
it seems like
we've gotten some world records this last weekend. Chicago is also known as a good
because it's flat
PR one. So there's been world records set at Chicago before, but currently both of the world records have been set in London yesterday.
Okay, I guess this is untrue. I saw online someone be like, scientists said that man wouldn't be able to beat 2 hours until 2075. And I remember thinking, like, what could that even mean?
How would they predict that?
I don't know. What is that based on? It also seems like we were pretty close.
Yeah.
Like, what does science mean? Anyway, my final question about the London Marathon is I know your friend, Carl Radke.
Yeah. You guys, I'm so Carl-pilled right now. I'm so ashamed of it because I feel if you've been a longtime Patreon listener, I've been hard on Carl. And this season, he is really winning me back on Summer House.
And how did he do at the marathon?
So he's disappointed, according to his Instagram caption.
Don't we both know it? Sometimes it's so hard when you've been training for so long and then you don't have a good day.
He was going for sub 4 and he got 4 hours, 2 minutes. And I think that is, on one hand, amazing because you're like, that's so fast.
Yeah. And can you tell the people what that breaks down to pacing-wise? Isn't it like 9 minutes?
I think it's 9 something. It's in the 9s. Yeah, he was going for sub 4. He got 4 hours 2. And I feel like that's hard because you're like, okay, on one hand, that's still a really good time. And on the other hand, you were like 2 minutes away. And that is tough.
Yeah. Well, Carly, we're rooting for you. I have news update of sport. Sport news update.
Sport news.
Do you remember a few weeks ago I reported on Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently somebody's come forth with a photo of them from 6 years ago, like kissing at a bar. So it turns out they were having an affair. I thought they were friends.
Can I say, I think there's something so kind of endearing about an affair that goes on for like decades because I feel like there's something that's so like adrenaline-y about affairs, right? Like you're so like, okay, I'm having an affair, but like this is so crazy. And you'd think that would wear off.
I think the opposite. I think when it's that difficult to schedule, like he's busy, she's busy, they have families, they have jobs. I think when you can only see each other like 2 to 3 times a year, and then on top of that, you're always kind of like adjacent to each other. Like I bet they like interview each other and like, you know what I mean? Like they're in the same place.
6 years to maintain.
At
least 6 years. I find it honestly more inspiring than people who hook up a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I think to maintain that secrecy, I mean, I guess they haven't maintained secrecy. They've been photographed. But to like maintain that desire and that, I think obviously, listen, cheating is wrong. I don't think you should do it. I'm not on the side of cheaters. That being said,
like they must really have something.
I feel the reverse of Josh Tell the Bees on TikTok, his American cheating theory, where it's like the public forgives people who cheat and then get married and spend the rest, like a long time together. Like once it becomes a long-term committed relationship, the cheating is kind of forgiven. I think to me, I feel impressed by people who stay cheating for the long haul.
I'm impressed by the person who went, wait a minute, I took a photo of this 6 years ago. Is that relevant? And then was able to scroll back through 6 years of photos. It's like a grainy photo in a bar. I'm like, what? Good for you. Good for you for being like, wait a minute.
I know these two.
Anyway.
Should we get into, a shooting?
At the White House Correspondents Dinner, there was an assassin. He got into the building, but not onto the floor of Trump.
He was staying in the building.
Because it was a hotel?
It was a hotel. So he was staying at the hotel, and that's how he got into the building. He was just already there.
That's kind of like my strategy for clubs. Have you ever done that where you're like trying to get into like the top of the Gansevoort or something, and you're like, go to floor 13 and then just walk up the stairs and you're like, I'm just downstairs.
No.
That's been a big strategy of mine historically. It never works. So they go, do you have a key? And you go, I lost it in my room, which unfortunately is for me true.
Yeah, no, I travel with you.
I lose a lot of hotel keys.
Whenever you pull out a hotel key, I go, oh my God, Claire.
I know.
Anyway, so he was staying in the hotel. He had a couple guns and some knives with him. According to the current sitting attorney general, because we know Pam Bondi has been dismissed, he said that this man took a cross-country Amtrak.
Shout out to trains, high-speed trains.
The question has been raised, should there be security on an Amtrak?
No. We gotten this far and what happened? Nothing. So problem solved.
Well, I guess you're on the side of the attorney gen.
I mean, how much more security can we have? Like, at the end of the day, if people want to kill, they'll kill. We can't play this like, okay, he won't take an Amtrak, he'll take a car. I don't know, man. People, how about this? If you don't want people to have guns on a train, get rid of the guns.
I think that's been kind of a big conversation point that the Republicans have not really been able to figure out how to respond to. Anyway, so he was checked into the hotel as a guest. He had his guns and his knives, and you can see him on the security camera footage just kind of trying to like run in.
Also, can I say something? Sorry. Can we back up?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He came from California. I saw he transferred in Chicago and then came down to DC. Like, how many of those states are concealed carry states? Oh, so you're telling me he can't have a gun in his suitcase? That's new. I agree. Let's stop it. Like, this is your shit. This is what's so funny when people gun attack Republicans. I'm like, yeah, damn. If only someone would stop.
So there's like just a lot of weird details about this that have a lot of people wondering if this is another one of Trump's elaborate
ruses. He's a showman. He's a WWE guy.
I feel like every time he really wants something, it's like, you know, when a kid does a play to explain to their parents why they deserve something.
Yeah, like when you do a performance to get a sleepover.
Yeah, I feel like this is his performance for why he should have a ballroom. Like,
so you're on the side of it's fake.
Listen, you know I'm conspiratorial. I feel like so much of the detail, the way that no one really seems troubled by it except like Erica Kirk.
You would think that she'd be anti-gun at this point, but I guess she deserves it more than anybody. She has fought very hard for her right to get shot at.
This guy runs past security. He ends up getting taken down. There's a couple shots fired. And everyone in the ballroom, especially the people who had security or Secret Service, were whisked away. And then you can kind of see them all relax and chill. Like the way that no one believed that this was any sort of a maintained threat when there was presumably an active shooter present.
But it seems like it wasn't. It sounds like they got him and he wasn't even near, right?
He was one floor above trying to get down to the ballroom where the event
was.
But he didn't. I guess I feel that if it was real, if there was like an actual threat on the president's life, like don't you have to go into your bunker anyway just in case while they like clear the rest of the hotel and like
Not
do a security
everybody.
check? Not everybody. There's a picture of the president standing behind a curtain watching everyone kind of like sort out.
I guess my feeling is like this idea that like nobody would want to kill the president is like also preposterous to me. It feels very reasonable that we'd live in a world where somebody would want to kill Trump.
I agree with that.
And I also think Trump is like a delusional old person who doesn't know, like he's not fast moving. He's heavy set.
Yeah.
Like he's old. He's, you know what I mean? Like his skin is just tissue paper. I think if somebody says, hey man, they got him, he's going to slow down.
Yeah, but like slow down and stop to look around.
I guess I feel so specifically the coolest thing that ever happened to him was getting shot at. That like,
I don't believe that happened. And that's the problem, is that I don't think any of these have been real.
But like, okay, but my problem, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But that photo and that moment was cool. And he did get a lot of credit for it, no?
Yeah.
So like, even if that one was fake and a real, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think it is in his best interest because he's nothing if not like an image guy.
He wants to go towards the chaos.
Yeah. And at least like, you know, controlled chaos. Like, I think he loves that. I think he like loves that people want to kill him because it validates how important and special he is.
I guess to me, that's exactly why he keeps on staging them.
Okay.
I don't know. I think that like the note, this guy wrote like a 1,000-page note where it doesn't even mention Trump by name. He just says the administration from most important to least important are his targets. I don't like so many things about it. Like obviously someone who's going to do an assassination is not necessarily of the most sound mind. But I do think if I were to find out it was fake, I would in no way be like, but it looked so real. I guess I think it also could have been real in a way where it also seems fake. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I feel with stuff like this, the realer it looks, the faker it is, honestly. I don't know. How do you think we would behave in a shooting? If somebody down the hall was getting shot at?
I don't know.
We were just at that event. Oh, you weren't there. I was just at an event with the Bush twins, the daughters of the Bush. And somebody leaned on something and there was like a huge crash that did sound like a bomb or attack. And we all just kind of went, uh-oh, and stood until somebody said, oh, no, it was nothing.
I'm saying I could see either way. I'm just saying I don't feel convinced.
Yeah, of course.
It says that initially they did think it was clinking trays.
Yeah. When you look and see a bus hurtling at you, how many people stop and go, oh, no, there's a bus, and just stand? I feel like famously people's responses in moments of crisis are not like logical and urgent and safety oriented.
I guess my argument for it is that this is not a human response in a moment of crisis. There actually is an entire security team with a very specific protocol.
I guess in every video I saw, like a human wall was formed and like the important people were whisked and the wives were left behind.
I know.
And so like, you know what I mean? That to me, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. If you're Cheryl Hines, good luck. But like they got RFK out of there.
But what I'm saying is I think the stopping shows that there was not real protocol in place. Whether or not Trump wants to stop and like veer back towards the action or like look at the controlled chaos or whatever he likes, there is a protocol that says like get him to a bunker. I don't know.
I guess I don't think you do know what the like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that you do know what the
security protocol
is for the president when there's like a shooter who's been caught in a different part of the room. You know what I mean? I guess if they hadn't caught him, I think they would have done more. But I think they have walkies. They go, we've got him.
Yeah. If I was a Secret Service, I'd say, well, let's make sure, like, let's get everyone that is important to safety while we make sure he's not like working with anybody. I don't know. I think to assume that he's like a lone wolf is...
I guess I'm just saying between what you're thinking here on the podcast and what the actual security guys did in real life, I'm going to go ahead and assume they went with protocol compared to you and what you're thinking right now.
Maybe. Maybe. Anyway, Melania and Trump were in the middle of a performance from a mentalist who was at their table.
Oh, that sucks. I actually love a mentalist.
When the commotion occurred, which is obviously a huge bummer for them.
Who was the mentalist?
Like Oz Perlman. So the mentalist obviously was too in the moment mentalizing to notice any commotion.
Well, that's not like there's more important things like who was the first girl you kissed?
Yeah.
Like that's important to know.
Exactly. And, you know, there's a lot of think pieces on it because there were so many journalists in the room.
I found the thing that was really interesting was the coordinated response from like Republican speaking heads or like Trump speaking heads of this is why we need the White House ballroom.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the Twitter personalities who are very pro-Trump and very right-wing and like Meghan McCain, they're all like, I better never hear you say that we don't need a ballroom now. To which I'm like, do you think this is the only time the president leaves his house?
Yeah. I guess also it's like it seems that security is so good that the shooter didn't make it even onto the floor that the event was happening and Trump got to still stand and watch from behind a curtain. Like,
yeah.
I guess we don't need a ballroom. It seems like everything's fine.
But it's also just like this, you know what I mean? You can't be like, and we need to build in the White House all of the coastal towns that might be hit by the next hurricane so that when he does a hurricane tour, he's safe inside the White House. And when he visits other dignitaries from other countries, we need to put those countries in the White House so that he's safe from,
yeah.
It is not practical to say, well, anything the president ever does for the rest of his presidency should just happen within the four walls of the White House.
No, that's insane.
He has golf trips. You can't golf inside. There's no natural wind.
And maybe he could get a fucking par.
I really like the ballroom. I love that. I love that like he is just who he is, which is like a showman who loves property.
Yeah.
I've been reading up on that ballroom. He's taking a general contractor % fee.
He is?
Yeah, because he kind of came up with the idea. So he's kind of like the architect in many ways.
I love that the president of the United States has time to oversee a construction project.
Yeah, big brain stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, should we talk about what it's like to have a friend on Wegovy?
On what?
Wegovy.
Is that how you're saying it?
How do you say it?
I guess I say Ozempic. Ozempic and friends. I guess I say Wegovy.
What did I say?
Wegovy,
Oh.
like Waymo.
Oh.
But you could be right.
That one, can I tell you? I don't care.
So The Cut, doing what The Cut does best, posted an insane personal essay called Losing My Friend Over Wegovy. She hid her semaglutide use, knowing that I would spiral. She was right. We haven't spoken since. So in this article, this woman talks about how she has this friend. She was at her friend's house, babysitting her new cat, opened the fridge, saw the shots, and kind of didn't know what to do and like called her out on it. She like sends her a text being like, Wegovy, ... You're not in trouble, but what's going on?
You're not in trouble. Can you imagine saying that to a friend?
No, but I feel like there's actually a lot of people in the world that would appreciate that.
Yeah, that's so true.
I guess the irony here was the girl was in trouble.
That's what I was going to say. She actually is in trouble. They are no longer friends.
Like, it's helpful when you're not in trouble and you're just like, hey, can we chat? And you can be like, not in trouble. But like here, the problem was like, hey, can we chat? Not in trouble. I'm just ending my friendship with you. Anyway, so she sends her this text. The girl's like, I can explain. And basically she's like, I didn't think you'd find out. That was the explanation. So then this woman, Sophia, is like, I have been in eating disorder recovery for years. I had a horrible eating disorder. It took over my whole life from the time, I think she says from the time she was like 6 to the time she was like 22 or something. So she is somebody who struggled her whole life with the eating disorder, has been in recovery or has been working towards recovery. Because I think in recovery, you can handle triggers like someone else wanting to lose weight without spiraling. That's like kind of what recovery would suggest.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how recovered you are. Like, I feel like that's a part of recovery. And I think it seems like a part that has not yet.
Yeah, she's working on her recovery. She's in it. And so she basically was like, I couldn't be friends with somebody who was on a diet because it would kind of change everything I felt about them and it would just trigger me. From mutual friends, I've gleaned that we both feel similarly. Something like, it's a gigantic bummer, but I get it. In many ways, I'm being a baby, but eating disorder recovery is a process of relearning how to feed yourself, turning back into the body's most basic needs, which is stuff of babies. If I could keep the friendship and compartmentalize the fact that she is orienting her life towards thinness, I would, but my brain doesn't work like that.
I think the reaction to this essay was like, this girl is a psycho. And I guess I found it to be weirdly self-aware for how out on a limb it is. Because she knows that she struggles with eating disorders and eating disordered thoughts so heavily that she can't be friends with someone who wants to lose weight, especially with medical assistance. And the other person shouldn't not be allowed to lose weight. And so they just can't be friends right now.
Yeah.
I feel like to ask either of them to give up that thought process, especially for the girl who wrote this essay, it seems so all-consuming for her. And the idea of just being like, get over it. Like, obviously, she's trying to get over it. She's in recovery. Like, she seems like she's working hard to get over it and hasn't yet. And so what's she going to do?
Yeah, and I think the response to this article of like, this is so crazy. Like, I saw a lot of people be like, she gets close to self-awareness, but then she loses it. Again, I hate to be like, this is ableism, but I think people forget when they talk about mental health about like why mental illness is difficult. And that's because it like makes you difficult. Do you know what I mean? I feel like people want to put this mental illness into this neat little box of, oh, she struggles to eat and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, no, when your whole life revolves around whether or not you're eating and whether other people are eating and like how your body is being perceived and how you feel in your body, it goes beyond just starving yourself. It makes everything in your life hard, including relationships. And she is somebody who's like, I mean, everybody who like knows about eating disorders knows like they never go away. They just like get quieter. And even if it's quieter than it's been for her, it's still loud in there.
And I guess that's one of the hard things about eating disorders and eating disorder recovery is that you're always eating.
I mean, yeah, that gets so much harder than drugs or alcohol, I think, because eating is a fact of life that cannot be denied. I think it's easier to go cold turkey on alcohol because like there's just one answer, but you can't not eat. And also we live in a world where other people are on diets. And that's the hard part about anorexia is the line of like, when is what they're doing commendable, but what I'm doing deadly.
Yeah, and I kind of feel for this girl because it seems like she is hard to be friends with because we live in such a diet-obsessed society where like to not be able to interact with anyone who is like making negative comments about their body is really hard. Like that is a hard line to draw because I don't know. I think the way it's so ingrained in our culture to talk about calories, it just is what it is and it's hard to avoid it. And so if she's trying to build her life in a way that she isn't thinking about food and calories and like diets all the time, She should be allowed to. It just means it's going to cost her friendships. And she has agreed to, like, it's not like she's saying you should go off Wegovy and still be friends with me. She's saying, oh, that's your choice. And I have to bow out.
And it's funny because I saw people comparing it to like drinking, like an alcoholic. I guess I do understand that if you met somebody in AA and you were sober and they were in a phase of life where they were saying, I've actually decided I can handle a drink or two. Now, like it might be hard for you to be like this sober buddy of mine.
Even not sober buddy. Like we know tons of addicts.
Mm-hmm. As all of us do.
And I feel like there are people who, when they stop drinking, it's really hard for them to be around alcohol at all. And some people have no problem with it. Some people can very easily go to a bar and not drink or go to a party and not drink. And it doesn't bother them if you're, you know, I've like dated a guy who was sober and he would be like, you can order a drink. And I'd be like, it's great that you can handle that. I kind of don't want to like say you're drinking alone. Not that you should drink, but like I just don't want one. But anyway, the point is everyone's at varying levels of like what they're okay being around.
Yeah. And it kind of reminds me of like during the Me Too movement or anytime when somebody comes out, there's no perfect victim. And I think about the way people talked about like Rose Byrne or even Lindsay Lohan when she came out and like defended Harvey Weinstein and people were so mad at her about it. I'm like, yeah, well, part of the problem of being assaulted is that like it fucks you up.
Yeah.
I feel like people want to put it in this box of like, oh, is this bad thing that happened to you one time that like neatly, you know what I mean? Like on the long arc of your life, it's this horrible blip. But it's not. It's something that like changes you. And part of the problem is sometimes it changes you in a way that makes your life difficult because it fucks you up. And I think like an eating disorder is going to fuck you up. And it's so I don't know, like to be mad at her for being like, I know my own boundaries. Like it is a mental illness. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's going to make her act a bit crazy.
And I think the idea of people sitting here being like, okay, well then she's not really going to have any friends. Like I think she knows that she is having to deal with kind of the consequences of the limitations she's set. She knows it makes it harder for her to be friends with.
You can't look at the Cut article as somebody saying this is how you should live your life. This is how I should live my life. You just have to see it as somebody's honest account of what it's like to be in their brain. To quote Bruce Springsteen talking to Lena Dunham in Fame Sickness, he said, the point of a memoir is not to tell all the truth, is to show people how your brain works. And I think that's how you have to see these personal essays and then use it as a tool to understand other people you maybe don't understand. If someone in your life seems to have cut you off unfairly because of the way you're living your life that they think impacts their life, this is a look into their mind. I think the Helen DeWitt segment we did the other day where she has that blog post of someone who literally cannot do a podcast. She's given 1 full year to get a podcast done. And she was like, I just can't do it. And you might be thinking, why not? I don't know. You read it and you go, I guess this lady just simply can't. And I think the more you can understand other people's brains and like get in their thought process, the more empathy you can have for their situation and the more you can believe them. And that's like what a good writer does.
Yeah.
That being said, this fucking Sofia Ortega who wrote it.
Oh, but seems like
she seems like a goddamn pill, man.
Bit of a handful.
Read the one other byline she has for the Cut.
It's called, I hate getting gifts because I hate being misunderstood.
She also has this other article she wrote about how her long-term boyfriend does have a feeder kink, which I'm just like, okay. Some people have a real knack for putting themselves in positions that are going to be hard on them. It seems to have come up late in their relationship, but she's like, yeah, about a year in, it turns out he's into like fat adoration and feederism. And she's like, I tried to do it with him, but you know, it's hard for someone with an eating disorder to be eating in a way that's pleasurable sexually.
Yeah.
We had to open up the relationship to allow for it. And I am just like, it just feels like there's so many people who wouldn't have that kink that might be easier for a woman struggling with an eating disorder to not make eating like an innate part of your sexual thing. But I'm like, that's how people be. If you hate eating, you're going to find the man who wants nothing more than to jerk off to you eating. And
that's tough stuff.
That's why the Cut exists, because we need the essays from them. And news about hot people who don't deserve this.
Megan the Stallion has announced via Instagram stories and then later in a statement that her relationship with Klay Thompson is no longer moving forward.
I'm looking at a photo of them together right now, and I don't know what event this was, but the dress looks really pretty on her. It's like a black halter with like a cool belt. Anyway, Meg took to Instagram stories to say, cheating, had me around your whole family playing house, ... got cold feet, holding you down through all your horrible mood swings and treatment towards me during your basketball season. Now you don't know if you can be monogamous? 4 question marks. Bitch, I need a real break after this one. Bye, y'all. She posted that I believe Sunday morning, and then went on to perform in Moulin Rouge.
Oh, she's such a star.
I wonder if she was listening to I Could Do It With a Broken Heart.
Oh my God. That song is inspiring.
I do think that, like, listen, I'm not saying everybody loves Taylor Swift, but I do think if you are a female performer who has to get on stage and sing and dance with a broken heart, there is like one perfect song for you, in the same way that sometimes when you're uptown or you're going downtown, you're like, well, there's just...
I'm making my way downtown. I'm walking fast.
Oh, I was going to say uptown girl.
Oh, that's when you're going uptown.
She's just an uptown girl, right? Like, say you're in love with a girl named Eileen.
Yeah.
Or if you're having a Clementine and it's particularly sweet that day.
I think if you're on a river and you're kind of just rolling and grooving, you're rolling on a river and there's no other way to talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's your birthday.
Yeah. And you got that cake.
I was going to say,
cake.
And I was going to say you go to party like it's your birthday. Okay.
Okay.
I guess there's like a lot of situations where a lot of things could describe the situation you're in. There's a lot of music for everything.
Except performing with a broken heart.
Yeah.
And that's actually, can I say, what's made Taylor Swift a star is she says no one's ever talking about this.
Yeah.
And she makes a song for it.
Anyway, back to Who Matters, Megan Thee Stallion. She posted this, which I don't think I'm taking too many steps forward in assuming that her former boyfriend, Klay Thompson, NBA star, do you know what team he plays for? I'll be honest, if they didn't date a Kardashian, I don't know their team.
Yeah, I have no idea. And I'm not going to look it up because I feel like that would be dignifying.
I won't dig it. Apparently, he's really good at basketball, though.
Good for him. Good for you, Clay.
I have an interesting from the streets commentary.
Okay.
When they were first dating, not that I cite my own boyfriend as a source often, but he cares about the NBA.
Yeah.
And so when they were first dating, I remember Mac going, oh, that's great. Like, he's known as being a really good guy. And I was like, good for her. Good for them. We love him.
Yeah.
And then when this came out, I said, excuse me, you said he was a good guy. And then suddenly, backtracking, rewriting the narrative, he goes, well, he's known for being like a chill guy. And I said, well, those are two very different things.
And can I say, it's a common mistake that I think is ingrained in men's mentalities, because I feel that I've had this conversation with men, I guess every time I've ever had a conversation with a man about someone that I think is nefarious, is that if they've ever been chill, good guy and chill guy get so conflated.
But can I say also the dangerous thing that makes it nearly impossible for all women on this earth?
What?
A famous good guy, the most evil of them all. Do you know what I mean? Like, chill guy is not good. Good guy is really bad. Bad guy, evil. Like, I don't know. Like, guy you've never noticed before. And off the top of the dome, not much to say. That's who you're looking for.
Yeah, I think that we should, from this point forward, never describe a man as anything other than his future actions.
And the way that I believe that you cannot say love of your life until you're dead. On your deathbed, you get to look back at your life and say, in retrospect, this was the love of my life.
Yeah.
Only on a man's deathbed do we get to go,
he was a good guy.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't judge a movie until you finished it. You wouldn't judge a book. You wouldn't judge a meal until you finished it.
Oh my God.
Because sometimes you have an entire slice of cake and you go, I didn't like one bite of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can only really know when you're done.
Exactly. But I do think good guy or like chill guy is often used in this way that is so nefarious. Just if a man remains even most of the time chill, the way that you can just get away with things amongst the boys, and that's what the secret is if you like don't ruffle their feathers, they'll continue to vouch for you.
Yeah. So I'm just always interested in the conversation when a gorgeous, beautiful, successful, sexy woman gets cheated on. The conversation being like, well, if not her, then who? Like, if she can't not that she doesn't expect faithfulness, she very clearly did. And that's why this was so disappointing to her. But like, if a man's not faithful to her, how could one of us normies expect it?
I guess, unfortunately, okay.
Sure.
The problem is I don't think at this moment anyone can expect it. And not that I don't think fidelity exists. I do think that there are faithful people. That being said, I do think the male loneliness epidemic is actually men forcibly making themselves lonely at the expense of women aggressively. Do you know what I feel that...
Well, can I cite, and I'm going to cite the Diabolical Lies podcast, I'm going to cite what I think is true. I guess the question is, are men lonelier than they've ever been? Because like, who had a bunch of real friends that knew the real him, Don Draper? Is there a male loneliness epidemic, or is it just like women are succeeding and so now men are feeling sad for themselves? But
well, I was rebranding it. I was basically saying, I guess I don't think men have ever been more or less lonely friendship wise necessarily. They do only really know each other as a chill guy. I think that men are making themselves lonely in making themselves like essentially undateable. And I think that used to be their one person that they could lean on was like having a wife who cleaned up their mess forever. And I think that right now, I'm sorry, you land like a gorgeous, objectively just like gorgeous and smart and talented woman like Megan Thee Stallion, and you cannot make yourself be a good person to date. You know what I mean? Like it is like a forcibly ejecting yourself into loneliness in that way more than ever before. I think as women like are no longer agreeing to settle for certain behaviors, men are like amplifying those behaviors in like retaliation. But it's like, what are you retaliating to? Like women, when they don't have a boyfriend, they still have friends. When men don't have a girlfriend, they don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, I think, again, I'm going to push back in this idea of men making themselves undateable. I think it's, again, a situation of men acting how they've always been acting and women just raising their standards. I think men have always cheated. I just think historically women have been experienced more pressure to get married, more pressure to stay married, and like they've had less options. You know what I mean? The last time I remember this happening in the culture where like an undeniably, irrevocably hot woman got cheated on, it was Emrata and her divorce, when it came out that the reason they had a divorce is he like wouldn't stop cheating on her. He just wouldn't stop. And so she was talking to Esther Perel on her former RIP podcast, The High-Low Show. And she was talking about infidelity. And the thing Esther said specifically is like, as long as there's been marriage, there's been cheating. They were like, well, why do men cheat more? And she's like, well, if they do, it's because they're allowed. Men historically were just like allowed to cheat. That was socially, and that was from the situation of like, if you don't have a bank account, if you're going to leave him and you're not going to have any money, I guess he gets to.
Yeah.
Back in the day, people had mistresses. I don't think our grandmas were like so much better off from the faithful way.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I guess I don't think it's necessarily just faithfulness. I guess.
I don't think any of us want to be married in our grandma's time.
No, I don't either. I'm just saying I do feel as someone like single in the world. I think men have like never been that great. And I think that there used to be like at least a front that they put on. And I think that has like fallen away. Like I think the way that Megan Thee Stallion and Klay Thompson were first spotted together in summer 2025. So the fact that like
less than a year in, he's already asking her. He's like already like not putting in the effort to cover up his cheating.
Yes. And I think that is newer. Like I think that is in like the subtle red pillification of men where like not only have they always acted disrespectful to women, but now it's not even this like kind of secret thing. It's something they feel very entitled to, combined with women being like absolutely fucking not. Like not all women, obviously. And the reason men can still do it is because not all women will refuse that treatment, you know?
Well, I think the interesting conversation here in terms of like the contemporary red pilling or whatever is this idea of now you don't know if you can be monogamous. Clearly, I wonder if he said, let's open up the relationship. I wonder if he would have been okay with Megan stepping out with a man.
Of course not.
The verbiage has changed of how about instead of me cheating on you, we're in a situation where I'm allowed to do whatever I want and you're my girlfriend.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the entitlement of it.
I'm not 100% convinced that the entitlement is new. I think men have always been entitled and just women have been forced to accept it.
Yeah.
I mean, you obviously, by virtue of being single in your 30s, have like made it clear that you won't put up with it. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you wanted to be married, you could be.
Yeah.
And I think if you had that energy, A, you'd already be married by now. And B, they might try a little harder. But I think part of your thing is that you show up and you don't like,
yeah,
you
I
don't
guess
fawn over the bullshit.
it's so hard because I feel like I have a lot of friends who are like dating with a variety of personalities. And I feel like the way that like effort has screeched to a halt, even in like the initial pursuit of a relationship, I guess I like haven't been like keenly aware of all of time, but it feels different. Like it feels like something else is happening right now. I feel like it's almost this twisting, and like where the entitlement I feel comes in, it's almost this twisting of like, and expecting anything is like gold diggery. It's like the woman being entitled. If you say like, I want someone to buy me dinner, people will be like, okay, she's just like trying to get free dinners.
Yeah. I guess I do think it's like, it was just a different time. And I don't know that it was like a better time back then.
No, I don't think it was a better time.
You know what I mean? Because I think, yeah, back then you get to, all right, you take her out to dinner or something and then you marry her 6 months later and then you abandon her for the rest of her life while she raises your children. That's like low effort.
Well, I guess what I'm like trying to say is I agree that for women currently being empowered to not settle for something is good. That's when I say it's like a male loneliness epidemic that they've like imposed on themselves, is because I think they're the ones getting less girlfriends. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I wouldn't go back to those times. I think they would.
Yeah.
Which is why now I think the men are lonelier. And I'm not saying I feel bad for them. I'm saying it's like completely self-imposed.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. Anyway, but my point is, I was listening to this podcast and it was interesting. Esther was talking about like why people cheat. It's like, one, feeling lonely, looking for the intimacy. Like, two, obviously not being fulfilled sexually. And then three, just like this idea of trying to feel alive, of like tapping back into a part of yourself.
Interesting.
That you don't necessarily feel in your relationship. And she's like, and this is for people who are not like necessarily serial cheaters, like people who have an affair.
Yeah.
People who have been like married for 15 years, have an affair and like feel bad and want to work on it. It's like, well, then why did you do it?
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know, I needed something with that responsibility. Kind of like tapping back into a version of you that you feel you can't get from the one person you're with. But I do think Klay Thompson is probably a serial cheater and is from a very different situation and comes more from just this entitlement of, I get to.
Yeah.
And she's talking about like how male sexuality, like especially in our culture, is predetermined as just like they're always on. Like there is an assumption that you are like forever horny and that like to fulfill it is a deep entitlement, especially if you're like a successful man in the end. You know what I mean? If you're somebody who has access and opportunity, then it's almost like, of course, it's just like the natural.
Yeah. I heard a rumor that blue balls isn't even real.
Well, it's also like if that were so true, then why would so many men need Viagra? If men are just like constantly hard, then why is there like a bazillion-dollar energy to help men get hard?
Yeah.
Like these men are like going to the doctors to cheat. And then saying it's natural. It's like my natural masculinity urge is to cheat. And it's like you literally had big pharma involved.
That's so true.
So I just thought it was interesting because I remember when people were saying about MRAD. And I also feel I feel like it's like difficult for women like them that are considered such prizes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the type of man who would go after a woman who is such a prize is a man who like revels in the thrill of
other
like
men saying you're
like there's a real like clout component to it, and somebody who's that clout thirsty is never going to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like I do think when you are such a catch.
I feel so bad. She was quoted in January saying, "This is one of the first times I've ever been just overly comfortable. I'm comfy, babe." And I feel so sad because I bet dating is so hard when, one, your schedule is so difficult. Two, you are just like extremely successful and also extremely hot. You know what I like to be? I think it takes like a very particular type of man, unfortunately, who is okay with being with someone who is extremely successful.
It's hard. Like you think about K-Fed, he obviously was a loser who was not confident.
Yeah.
But it is like, well, who else has 9 months to go on tour with Britney Spears? If you guys want to hang out, you got to be able to go on tour with her. And then if you're a man, you have to be able to like be comfortable.
I think to try to find someone who is available to meet up with you and then also is like not overly intimidated, is someone that you respect also. And they're, you know what I mean? Like you can't just be like, okay, well, I'm looking for someone who can drop everything and follow me around for the rest of my life. A lot of women don't like that in a partner. I feel like a lot of women want someone that they feel like an intellectual compatibility with also.
Or like an ambition compatibility.
Yeah. And so I think it's really hard for a successful woman to find that.
Yeah. Anyway, Meg, best of luck. Don't worry, gals. You're not dating Klay Thompson unless you're that other girl.
Yeah.
There was a rumor he was cheating with somebody in the WNBA.
Yeah, but she said I'm not.
Okay, good for her. She's really beautiful. And I was like, you could get your own boyfriend. However, did you know that one of my favorite couples is like double athlete?
Yeah.
I love it. I love it when athletes get married.
No, it's really cool.
I love it when like a professional athlete man like loves his professional athlete wife.
Well, I love that. That's why the WNBA is so fun to watch. A lot of double athlete couples.
A lot of track stars.
Yeah.
They get scooped.
Oh, those two Olympians. God, I fucking love those motherfuckers.
Yeah, all of them. It'll be a fun album though, huh?
Okay, so now we're going to talk about, I guess they're not both YouTubers, but in a way they are. I guess two online personalities who have blossomed into a full-blown media empire. Starting with Mr. Beast.
My king.
Mr. Donaldson has been sued by former...
What's his real name?
Something Donaldson.
Imagine his first name was Mr.
Yeah. And he was like, it's actually Beast now. I go by Beast.
Beast was my middle name, like Leah Michelle. His name was always Mr. Beast Donaldson.
So Mr. Beast, 2 of his companies have been sued by Lorraine Mavromatis, alleging that she was illegally demoted and then fired after complaining about sexual harassment and a hostile work environment that included an employee handbook reportedly written by Donaldson, I'll call him Beast, that said, it's okay for boys to be childish. If talent wants to draw a dick on the whiteboard in the video or do something stupid, let them.
Let them. Okay, plagiarizing our favorite lady.
Exactly.
What's our policy on sexual assault? Let them.
I mean, the handbook says no does not mean no.
In what context?
I don't know. And it says the amount of hours you work is irrelevant, which I don't really know the context for that either. I'm curious about it because I wonder if it's like...
Because you'd be like, I only work 2 hours, but I got a lot of shit done.
Yeah, is it just like as long as everything you get done gets done, hours is irrelevant? Or is it like...
Don't complain to me about your hours. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, like you're going to be here 10 hours a day and that's irrelevant.
That's irrelevant to your job. How much you're working is irrelevant to your work life.
Lorraine was apparently demoted and then fired right after coming back from maternity leave. They claim it was a restructuring of the company. They've officially responded and said, this clout-chasing complaint is built on deliberate misrepresentations and categorically false statements, and we have the receipts to prove it.
You don't get to be the most famous person on YouTube and then accuse someone else of clout chasing.
Yeah.
That's just like the water you breathe, you fish.
It is the water you breathe. And so there have been a lot of other lawsuits in Mr. Beast's history. There was a class action lawsuit by the participants of Beast Games at one point saying...
Oh, did they think abuse was suddenly not so fun anymore?
Yeah, basically.
This is where I get victim blaming. I'm like, oh, did you think living in a mall while someone shot you with a gun for $700 and some follows on your YouTube channel? Did you look back and think maybe that wasn't worth it?
Yeah, they did, it seems. It seems that they were like locked in a stadium. I guess there was 2,000 people.
The problem is I think when you signed up, they were probably like, do you want to be locked in a stadium?
Okay, so here's where their lawsuit, I think, ended up having legs randomly is because originally the ad was to do Beast Games, be locked in a stadium, do all this. But it was 1,000 people. The actual participation was 2,000 people. And so they said that means like...
There was half the chance to win.
Yeah, it was like a deliberate misrepresentation of their odds to win. They also, and this is where I feel the YouTubiness gets so complicated is because there was inadequate medical staff. There was inadequate food. There was a lot of conditions that people were just like throwing up, passing out in real danger. But... this is why non-union, sorry to get on here on my union soapbox, but like this is why when, you know, Netflix is doing these like video podcasts that are just non-union talk shows, when Mr. Beast is like a non-union reality competition show, like the problem with these is that there are certain things that have been put in place legally to make sure that like while people do choose to participate in these games or in these competitions, like on Survivor, there are things that require a medical evacuation. You know what I like? There are things where you can sit there and say like, well, I didn't know it'd be quite like this. There are people there who are ensuring your safety to a certain extent. And on this, there aren't.
What happened?
What happened is I guess it ended and some people pissed and shit themselves and then sued Mr. Beast. But anyway, so the problem is he's constantly being accused of having an unsafe workplace, creating an unsafe environment. Like a lot of people have had the valid criticism that what he does is fucking sickening by like dangling cash in front of like less fortunate people and being like, degrade yourself for this. And of course you can sit here and say like they shouldn't do it. But ultimately when we live in a society where like at this point, a lot of people believe their only route to like a better life is like the lottery or something like this.
Do you remember when Netflix sent out applications to be on their Squid Games? And I was like, the problem is I just watched Squid Games. Yeah. Why would I want to be on the whole point is that's like not something you want to do.
Yeah.
It was really funny for them to be like this fucked up TV show where the reveal is it's fucked up to do this to people. What if we did it?
Yeah, literally. And so the problem is in like these content creator turned media executive platforms, they all think that they're these like renegades dodging traditional pathways And actually what they're doing is creating like shitty work environments and unsafe conditions for people. And so I think that leads us into the Unwell Network. So Alex Cooper founded the Unwell Network in, I believe, 2024.
If you don't know who Alex Cooper is somehow, she is the host of Call Her Daddy, originally the co-host of Call Her Daddy.
Yes.
So basically her and her roommate, Sophia, they were like randomly roommates in New York City, right? They started this podcast. They did like 1 or 2 episodes on their own, and then they were acquired by Barstool. They joined the Barstool network. They kind of blew up. They became this huge success. They did like $1 million in merch. They were making something like $65,000 the first year. The second year, they made way more money. But Sophia, as the rumors go, had this boyfriend who worked in entertainment and was like, you guys are worth way more than this. She wanted to fight for a better deal. Obviously, Dave Poynter didn't want to give them a better deal. He kind of went to Alex. Alex signed a solo deal and essentially cut Sophia out, where she was told, if you work for us for 1 more year for $500,000, I will give you the IP.
Well, I heard, so originally Dave Portnoy had said, I'll give you each $500,000 to stay with Barstool. When Alex went behind Sophia's back, the rumor is she got both of their salaries and a 1-year deal where at the end of that year, she could take the IP behind Call Her Daddy. So like the name Call Her Daddy and do whatever she wanted.
She then, of course, famously went to Spotify, sold it for $60 million. The joke is somehow, even though Alex took not just $1 million, if that's true, but ultimately $60 million, Sophia was deemed very greedy, shitty, like horrible,
lazy.
People hated her. I mean, the hate is always funny. And I say this as a podcaster, like with a self-awareness, like one of the interesting parts of a parasocial relationship is that you could be so angry at somebody for not doing something you love anymore that you would like hate them. Do you know what I mean? This idea that like you would love Call Her Daddy so much that the idea that Sophia would stop doing it would make you hate her. Anyway, Sophia was like persona non grata in all of the world for like 6 months.
Yeah.
But Alex's feeling was, well, I'm the one who does all the work. Alex was the one who edited it. That has now been like contested. But I just heard Sophia on a podcast say something like, well, I had offered to take editing classes so I could help, but she would say no,
But she also claims that she was writing the jokes. Yes. I don't know.
There's been a lot of rumors that like part of the reason Alex Cooper took so long to do a live show is because she had someone else writing the jokes. I mean, I know from a Barstool employee that within a few months they had run out of stories. So they would like go through Reddit and steal other people's stories.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting how like cutthroat they were about making it successful. And Alex Cooper and Caller Alex really kind of owns a lot of that narrative of like, I was smart enough to make us look more bimbo-y in the photo. I was smart enough to do that. Like, I think now she would almost rewrite that and go, yeah, we were smart enough to know that like these are the stories people like. Like we know how to source stories. Anyway, when she sold to Spotify for $60 million, Sophia obviously had been completely cut out. Something very interesting that we know from like the podcasting world is that obviously people were selling her anything. She had carte blanche, blank check to do anything she could possibly want. Did she want to start a network? Did she want to do this? Did she want to do that? No. All she wanted to do was deliver 1 episode a week. And I think she has since come out and said like, I just wanted to make sure I could deliver what I knew I could do. And I know I can do 1 episode a week. Since then, she has married this man, Matt Kaplan. They have created a company together called Trending.
Mm-hmm.
Unwell Network is underneath it. He is a production company. He has been in the world of TV and movies for a very long time, since college. He graduated, it seems like, in 2004.
Ace Entertainment.
Yeah. And so they now have one big conglomerate. And it seems like as they have become a romantic partnership, he has given her the confidence or he has pushed her to say, like, let's expand this.
Yeah. So under Trending, which is the name of the company, you have Matt Kaplan's production company, you have Unwell Network, you have the Unwell Creative Agency, and then also they have like a consumer products company.
Which I don't think is doing very well.
No. So I just want to go through quickly the timeline of Unwell Network and their shows.
It's because me and Ashley have always been like, I think they're not doing well.
Right. So in 2021, she signs with Spotify for a 3-year, $60 million contract. When it was up in 2024, she went with SiriusXM for a 3-year, $125 million contract.
So we know from the podcast world that that's not the real number. That's only the number if she like doubles her listenership. Like, but she is great about knowing that all of your brand is what people think about you, and like your value is what people think your value is.
She's great at getting a headline out there. And the headline is Alex Cooper leaves Spotify to sign with SiriusXM for a $125 million contract.
When the truth was that Spotify didn't want her to be exclusive with them anymore because they weren't making their money back. So they were like, okay, when we renew, like we have to be able to put this on all our RSS feeds, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts, so that we can make more ad revenue off you. It was really important to her to maintain that exclusive title because she knows that that makes her look exclusive. So they were like, okay, well then we're done with you. After they cut her off, she went and made this deal with serious, use the biggest number she could find legally on the contract, even though it's like, it's kind of like saying, this is my salary if we win the Super Bowl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if all things go impossibly well, this is how much I'll make. But she got that headline out there first because she is kind of brilliant in being like, I know how to control a narrative.
Right. So Unwell Network launches in 2023 with new podcasts from Alex Earl, who was at that time just like the hottest new name on the influencer scene. I feel like she had kind of come not out of nowhere, but she blew up very quickly over a year. And then suddenly was in like Super Bowl commercials, launching this podcast in like the initial round of Unwell Network podcast. It was a big deal.
And Madeline RG.
Yes,
right?
who's like a British Emma Chamberlain.
Oh, yeah. I forget Emma Chamberlain isn't British. She's like a British messy. She's messy and she doesn't leave her room.
But she's so pretty.
She's, you know, when you look at a girl in your school and you go, you're so beautiful, you could be a model. And they go, well, I'm not tall enough. What they could be is Madeline RG.
Yeah.
It's her Instagram has given like a whole new profession to girls like that.
So in 2024, they add a podcast with Owen Teal, who is just kind of a friend to all stars.
Yeah. Deep dive. Like, I don't know how he gets in the room.
Yeah, he first did like a short with Cassie David like 7 or 8 years ago.
And then he's like in Taylor Swift's music video. Like he is somebody who has been in the background of every mega famous person's Instagram the whole time. It's very bizarre.
In 2024, they launched Extra Dirty with Haley Batchelder, who is an influencer. And this was kind of viewed as the successor to Call Her Daddy's raunchy side. So Call Her Daddy was originally a sex podcast. And when it was just Alex Cooper hosting it, it became an interview podcast where she just interviews celebrities. And now Haley Batchelder is kind of like the party girl raunchy podcast. Then in January 2025, they launch a beverage called Unwell.
I was reading, she recently did an ad for it, a Jerry Springer style ad, which is not good. There's something about her hair is so necessary because you put her in a wig and all you can see is the Botox. But it was so funny because, I don't know, the ad didn't make much sense. It was just like tapping into something that I think ChatGPT said millennials and Gen Z will like. It's like nostalgic. And ads should be nostalgic. But all the comments were like, why would I drink an electrolyte drink that says Unwell?
Yeah.
I mean, I do think if you're buying into it, you're buying into her. And so you know the gist. But it is so funny to think that somebody in Costco, like an old woman in Costco, wouldn't be like, oh, that's good for you.
Yeah.
It's called Unwell. But the comment feedback was not looking positive.
No, and I guess I also just feel that the electrolyte beverage space, I don't know. We learned from Loverboy, breaking into beverages is really hard.
Well, some people do it great. Look at Prime. Look at Poppy.
That's true.
Actually, I just had a Poppy last night for the first time ever. And me and Mac were both like, wait, this is really good. Why doesn't anyone talk about it?
Alex Earl's talking about it. I guess I still feel safe in saying launching a beverage is hard. Especially because she can't even launch a podcast.
I'm just saying it does seem to be the merch du jour.
Yeah.
Whereas like for a really long time, it was makeup and then it was skincare. It does seem like I think Kylie Jenner just got into beverages, electrolyte beverages. It is the du jour thing that I guess you can slap a name on and license.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting, though, that she can't really, it seems, get people to listen to a podcast that isn't even hers.
Yeah.
So selling a physical product is difficult.
So talk to me about the podcast situation, because this is where we're obviously uniquely interested.
So Unwell Beverages, January 2025. February 2025, Harry Jowsey and Grace O'Malley. Podcasts are added. Grace O'Malley was previously on a Barstool Sports podcast, had a falling out with Brianna Chicken Fry, who unfortunately we've talked about before, and was then signed by Unwell Network. Also, with the move to SiriusXM, 3 radio shows were launched. Those have since, all but one, have been canceled.
But that one has been completely changed, right?
Yeah. And there seems to be some pretty bad will in December 2025 when these shows were abruptly canceled. Like seems
like the podcast hosts themselves seem pissed off.
I'm going to do some digging and see if I can pull anything up. I think we know people in common with some of them. We actually were at a party with one of them recently. Anyway, it seems that there's pretty bad will. They've posted like lip lock emojis about potentially being under an NDA. They have said that they originally signed a 5-year contract and were very surprised to have it canceled after, I think, less than 1 year. So she launched a podcast called The Burnouts with Phoebe Gates and her brand co-founder, Sophia something. And then in 2026, most recently, Serena Pitt and Joe Amabile from The Bachelor Nation.
Grocery Store Joe.
Grocery Store Joe.
I think I recently saw him say, I'm thinking about getting the age where I'm ready to start thinking about settling down. He's 48 years old, I think. And he said, I think I'm getting to the point where maybe I could be a father soon. I'd say, father.
They've launched now a pop culture podcast on the Unwell Network. And I know a lot of people are saying, why would I want to listen to Serena and Joe from Bachelor Nation do a pop culture show? It doesn't seem like anyone's listening to any of these Unwell Network podcasts. I think Harry Jowsey gets some listenership. He was on like Too Hot to Handle, I think.
And then he was recently in Slow Mo.
Yeah.
Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. He's good about staying in the mix.
Yeah.
He is, I will say, we were actually at a party and he was there and he was the only straight man. And I didn't recognize him as Harry Jowsey, but I did recognize him as like the only straight man in a room in a t-shirt, whereas everyone else was wearing like pretty fancy dresses. And I was like, what is that guy doing here? Who is he? He's taller than everybody. Who invited him? And then I was like, oh, I think that's Harry Jowsey.
And it was. So Unwell Network has also branched into television. They first launched the Alex Cooper documentary on Hulu, a documentary about Alex Cooper, in which she said, will I get this live show ready in time for my tour? And the answer was yes, because the tour had already happened.
I guess I also was like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like, no offense. I know, like, we're not doing, like, listen, we're hardly the Rockettes.
We don't have pyrotechnics, but still.
But we also don't have $60 million to fuck around with.
She hosted the Hannah Montana reunion, which I think has raised a lot more questions than answers. Like, why was Alex Cooper hosting the Hannah Montana reunion? Who cares?
I think I can back end answer it now.
What is it?
I've heard Miley say she learned from Dolly, just like say you wanted to do it. They're neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that Matt Kaplan, we gave a private story that I can't give here on our podcast last week about what Matt Kaplan is like on a call. And I think he is incredibly like aggressive. And I think Miley was just like, I want this to happen. And he was probably the dog most on the bone. You know what I mean? It kind of seemed like something that she was like, I'll let anyone do this if they're willing to do it. And he said, I'll do it.
They have a reality show called Love Overboard, hosted by Gabby Windey. And most recently, Unwell Winter Games, which is a competition show where, much like with Mr. Beast's situation, the on-set dynamic has been fraught.
What's happened? Well, I know that Taylor Frankie Paul's evil ex is on there, so I refuse to even acknowledge it.
Yeah, so the casting was controversial. Huda from Love Island.
Who just received a restraining order.
Yeah, Dakota from Mormon Wives. In the promotion of the show, they seem to be leaning into the red flagginess of the contestants. Like, it seemed to be celebrated that we're dealing with some villains here. And the show is just on YouTube, like a multi-million-dollar YouTube production.
So why wouldn't it be? Let's talk about who Matt Kaplan is. Matt Kaplan actually was the quarterback at Columbia University. So I know from experience that means almost nothing. I do think they're like one of the losingest teams.
Okay.
But God bless Robert, what's his name? Kraft?
From the Patriot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no amount of money he won't pour into that team. Anyway, he's famous for having dated Ashley Olsen and then being married to Claire Holt.
Yeah.
He dated Ashley Olsen when he was in college, and then he married Claire Holt for less than a year. They got divorced. He filed for divorce the day before their anniversary. They got married 2016, divorced 2017. He married Alexandra Cooper 2024. He's known for loving a powerful woman.
Yes.
I had heard that for a long time, that he loves like a woman that he like recognizes her business potential. And I think him and Alex Cooper actually famously met on a work Zoom. So I guess he got on that Zoom and said, this is a bitch that can make me some money.
And he was right.
He was dead right. He is just from the entertainment world. He produced To All the Boys I Loved Before. That was his big thing with his last entertainment company called Ace Entertainment that he created.
So anyway, the point is they are expanding. They've hired, I think, over 100 people to work at the various companies within trending. I hate that it's called that. Where do you work? I work at trending. Like, just tell me. Don't gatekeep it. Tell me what's trending. Anyway, so they've hired like hundreds of people. The turnover is rapido.
There was a Bloomberg article that came out recently.
Mm-hmm. And within the past year, the head of brand marketing, the head of network, and the chief growth officer have all left, along with like 20 other employees.
We covered this on the Patreon, but a girl has come out on TikTok and said when she applied for one of the roles, Matt Kaplan was such an asshole to her and basically was like, well, where do your parents work? And she was like, how could that possibly be relevant? And he's like, well, everybody here is just like a Nepo baby who doesn't work that hard. So I want to know what you're actually about, which feels like illegal to say in an interview.
Yeah. Also, like, who hired all the Nepo babies then?
Yeah.
I don't know. You have like a Phoebe Gates business podcast.
I have to say, very few things get me truly ruffled. Like, I know if you listen to the podcast, you're probably like, what do you mean, Claire? You care about everything. I don't. There's very few things that like at a party I'm hot and bothered about. something about Phoebe Gates starting a podcast to help people know how to navigate the politics of a first job made me like want to wring necks. I'm like, how fucking dare you say that you're going to help someone learn how to write an email to your boss? You don't know anything. You can never know anything. By definition of being Bill Gates' daughter, you will literally never in your life know what an honest to God email looks like.
And your dad is the inventor of email. The irony is thick.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not even saying she can't work hard. I'm not even saying she doesn't even get. All I'm saying is that she will never know how to navigate office politics because her dad is the emperor of the office.
Like she will never have an earnest
Microsoft Office 365. He literally invented it.
She will never have like an earnest lowest person on the totem pole experience.
She just can't know. She just can't know. Anyway, so he is famous for screaming at people. And we know from personal people that he is like quite a dick.
Yeah.
He's like a huge douchebag. And it has now come out that he's always screaming at people all the time. And like to the point where people are quitting because of it.
Yeah. So like the production staff on Unwell Winter Games was like, if he's on set again, I'm quitting.
And then that's why one of the big roadblocks to Alex Cooper's live show is that her production guy quit.
Yeah. And it wasn't mentioned why that happened. They kind of just like made him seem unreliable when now that we know that they're screamers, there's a huge chance this person just couldn't work with them. Especially, I'm sorry, if you're people who are sitting here being like, how are we going to get this 1 hour live stage show ready for 7 weeks from now? Like, I don't know. Why can't you get it ready?
Yeah. She did lip syncing.
Yeah. Channing Tatum learned it in a minute.
Yeah, but come on. Don't compare anybody. Like, that's like, okay. Yeah, and Sean Dawson can do a triple backflip. Like,
who?
You know who. You know who. Anyway.
Sean Dawson. Just because I feel like that leads us down a road of like a couple different great Seans, you know?
Yeah, and it could be any of them. And I'm not any of them.
Anyway, the point is
Alex Earl, Magazone.
So Alex Earl has been liking and sharing things implying that Alex Cooper was unpleasant to work with, which is why her podcast ended so abruptly and exited the network. Alex Cooper then made a video calling out Alex Earl. It was our caps off recently. She said, if you have something to say, fucking say it.
Unfortunately, that was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Granted, people have pointed out, sleuths have pointed out that this was clearly like a pre-recorded message, which is funny. Like everyone's taking their goddamn sweet time.
Yeah.
It has been debunked as PR. I guess we'll never know until we die.
I think we could find out sooner.
But I think people are feeling like, Alex Earl, if you don't come back with your PR statement, like, well, what did Alex Cooper do?
Yeah.
Our guess would be it was just a bad deal.
Yeah.
And our guess would be it's a bad deal tinged with interpersonal relationships that felt colored by jealousy of the new young blonde Alex with even bigger boobs and even more sports boyfriends and even more followers.
And who wouldn't hate a bigger boobed, more sports boyfriends? If you started a side podcast with a girl who looked like me but with any boobs and a sports boyfriend, I'd say, all right, we're in trouble.
We're in trouble. I guess my final thing is none of it matters, which is kind of the fun. And do you know what I mean? Like nobody's really been fucked over. This is not a true problem here. They're all so rich. I think Alex Earl's worth hundreds of millions of dollars because of her investment in Poppy. Like she just makes tons of money and she parties harder than anybody. And Alex Cooper is fine as well. And in an incredible lineage of Ashley Olsen, former date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the thing I have to put my foot down about is actually people who say they can't tell them apart. If you're just now finding out that there's two different Alexes, then you have to recuse yourself. You have to recuse yourself from caring. And I don't think people should keep saying that they didn't know there was two Alexes. It's enough.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree. I guess I think that overall what makes this so fun is the way that it feels ultimately low stakes. I guess it is not good if the Unwell Network is such a shitty place to work. The thing I feel frustrated about is obviously the entertainment industry has like always been full of people who are disastrous to work for. There's a long history of like the most evil bosses in the world being in charge of movies and TV. And I think it kind of is something to note that right now the industry has been like turned on its head because of alternative media, like because of people being able to just do it themselves and build these empires from the ground up and then be like just as shitty and like take advantage of people just as much. And now without any protections of like actual proper office structures. You know what I mean? And obviously people were never being protected, but it's just very funny to say, like, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Like, you can completely reinvent the entertainment industry from your, like, Lower East Side walk up and still be the horrible person to work for.
Do you want to make a prediction about what Alex Earl comes out with, if she comes out with anything?
I guess it's just going to be that Alex Cooper was mean to her, right?
Why do you think it's taking so long?
I feel like she's trying to save it for the TV show. My prediction is that it doesn't sound good in video. You know what I mean? When someone hasn't done one awful thing to you, they just like were an asshole to you over time. It sounds very petulant to be like, and this one time she said this, and this one time she said that. And then I arrived at the Unwell Super Bowl party and she said, is that what you're wearing?
And I do think it's very antithetical to the Alex Earl brand to like maintain petty grievances.
Yeah.
I feel like the thing that does feel so likable about her is her easy breeziness. And like even with her ex, she has a real like never complain, never explain. She's not Gen Z in that she really doesn't, and she can't. What identity politics could she rest on? I think she's MAGA. She's a MAGA blonde Barbie whose wealth paternally stems from corruption, I think, of the New Jersey Turnpike or something. But there is something about her of like she can party all day and she can show up for her friends and she can show up for her sister and she could show up for her mom and she can show up for Real Actives and she can show up for The Tonight Show and then she can go back to partying and then also she's dancing and then also she's working out and she's never eating and she's getting a boob job and nothing stops her. And I do think it would be really bad for her brand to stop now and complain when she is so, so privileged. And I feel the internet feels they've given her so much for her to sit and say, well, my boss was kind of mean to, I agree. I think it'd be a really bad look, especially when all of her followers are people who probably do have like actually bad bosses and are making very little money.
Yeah. Yeah. Unless there's like one big thing she can pin on Cooper, I feel Earl's video will fall flat. And I wonder if that's why she hasn't made it.
Alex, I wonder what the thought process was. Anyway.
And our final topic for today.
Dunking on the Atlantic. I wish I was dunking in the Atlantic. Am I right, East Coast girls?
Oh.
Am I right, summer lovers? Am I right, beachheads?
Is it beach season yet? Take me there.
You know what? Something that me and my brother quoted my whole life.
What?
Oh, Christy Yamaguchi, take me away. Do you know what that's from?
No.
It's from a Disney Channel show about an ice skater who has to join the boys' hockey team in order to practice at a boarding school with a really good ice skating coach.
God, whatever happened to that genre of film?
Ice skating girl with nowhere to go.
Like girl athlete who has to join the boys' team for logistical reasons.
But yeah, she'd go, oh, Christy Yamaguchi, take me away. And it's been stuck in my head for about 20 years.
What was that movie called where that hockey player, or no, wait. Yeah, the hockey player died.
Bad.
And then he was put back on Earth in a figure skater's body.
A girl or a boy?
A girl figure skater. And then they were like, well, at least you get to do what you love, skating.
I have to say the Michelle Kwan effect.
Mm-hmm.
I really feel like figure skating was like a really big deal to me growing up. Maybe I just have gotten too big and I know it's not possible anymore. Maybe the young girls who haven't finished puberty yet still think there's hope for them.
I kind of got my world rocked when I tried figure skating and said it's not for me. I don't like being cold and the amount of time you spend with sitting on the ice. Anyway, should we get into what really matters? Hasan Piker poisoning young minds.
So the New York Times just put out a video conversation between Hasan Piker, a streamer who's hot.
Yeah.
Hot leftist streamer, and Gia Tolentino, the great thinker of 29-year-old girls in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And they're in conversation about what this one New York Times op-ed woman is calling microlooting, which is the act of stealing a little bit here, a little bit there from big corporations. What does it mean? She noticed that people seem to be doing it and justifying it and even supporting it in the idea of like, well, they're stealing from us, so we'll steal back from them. How do we protest what's going on? So they have a conversation about like today's morals. And essentially,
it's so funny in that video that it opens up with a stream of clips of people online talking about stealing and not feeling bad about it. And David Drake's stand-up was one of them.
Yeah.
Rachel Sennett. It was like a real New York City stand-up scene.
It just means that if you've ever done an open mic comedy thing, you probably need a couple bucks towards Whole Foods. You feel entitled to Whole Foods but don't have the money.
Yeah.
And I do think that's quite indicative of the white New York City open mic scene.
So they're discussing kind of stealing a little bit here and there. Gia Tolentino says that she feels very comfortable grabbing a couple of lemons from Whole Foods and not paying for it.
Specifically when she's there doing like a mutual aid run.
Yeah.
That she herself tries not to shop at Whole Foods because of the implications morally. But if she's there and forgets something, whatevs.
Yeah. And I think that this is a line of thinking that is quite persistent amongst the left-leaning masses of like...
Left-leaning, I think, I don't know, you're telling me MAGA kids in Florida aren't stealing some gum?
I think they're stealing gum, but I don't think they're saying it's because this corporation's evil. Or like, not even it's because, but I feel fine doing it because this corporation's evil.
Yes, there's not an ethical underbelly explaining it. So basically, Hasan and Gia come to these conclusions. That one, any act of theft, violence, looting, aggression, anything, when it's done from like an emotional one-off standpoint, it does not help anybody, although these things can be done collectively. And ultimately, they are not perturbed by things like stealing because in this country, the largest theft is wage theft. Also, these corporations are stealing, just like the existence of billionaires is stealing. Like there's such mass inequality. There's such theft from the poor that like, that's the last thing that they're worried about as left-leaning people.
Yeah. They also specify what activism and collective action look like, and they acknowledge that stealing a little something because you feel like it is not activism. It's not collective action. It's not progressive. It just is something that they don't feel bad about doing. It's not a political act necessarily.
They're not mad if you steal from Whole Foods, but they also don't think you've helped anybody by stealing from Whole Foods.
And they also say there are political acts that do consist of property destruction. It is helpful to like recontextualize and remember that property is not people. Like sometimes property destruction can be necessary in political action.
I.e. the Boston Tea Party, for all you history heads out there.
Ever heard of it?
Tell your dad about the Boston Tea Party. Ask him what was so different then.
Anyway, two different writers at The Atlantic felt so blown to bits by this concept. Both Graham Wood and Thomas Chatterton Williams wrote op-eds for The Atlantic, just absolutely sticking their nose up the arsehole of big corporations. I read one of them and I said, wow, this is absolutely sniveling.
Ashley goes, they have two. She sent me one. I go, can you send me the other one? She goes, I already sent you the other one. And I went, oh, I read them both. And I kind of thought they were the same article.
But I actually was blown away by the similarities between the two and the fact that they both came from the same publication. I went through both writers' writing histories and Wikipedias because I was like, oh, well, surely these are storming, stomping Republicans. They are not. These are, I think, people who would call themselves like democratic thinkers and are very just like that absolute lazy loser, like pro-capitalism centrist type. Both of them.
They both make this big stink about how you should watch the video for yourself just to see how like fucked up and cheeky and snarky and unemotional these two evil leftists are about morality. When I am like, that's so funny you should say that, because I think if anybody were to watch the video, they would see how hard you're misrepresenting what they said. So a good example is Graham Wood is talking about the video and he says, channeling Abby Hoffman, Tolentino encourages people to steal from her own employer, The New Yorker, but does not explain what high crimes David Remnick has committed to earn this comeuppance. So like just right here. So if you don't know, David Remnick is the editor of The New Yorker. So he is suggesting that when Gia Tolentino said, because they ask her straight up, they're like, let's get through your moral qualms or whatever. Are you okay with stealing? Are you okay with pirating music? Are you okay with people getting around the paywall for an article? And Gia says, not only am I okay with it, I'm okay with it when it happens to me. I am a writer who writes articles. If you get around the paywall, God bless. She writes for The New Yorker. David Remnick is the editor of The New Yorker. This sentence suggests that she is stealing specifically from the man, David Remnick, who is so innocent. What has he done? She doesn't even say what's wrong. If you understand anything about businesses, an editor is not an owner. And this is exactly like their leftist Marxist idea. Like they're not saying that David Remnick, the salaried employee of The New Yorker, should be stolen from. But if you look at who actually owns The New Yorker, it's owned under an umbrella company, which is owned by an umbrella company, which is owned by the Newhouse family, who are in fact worth $30 billion. So when you ask who's done such a high crime of a comeuppance, how is a family worth $30 billion when all newspapers are like cutting staff and cutting salaries and like paying people less and less and less?
Yeah.
So she's stealing from them. And I think we can all agree that if you have $30 billion, then you can afford to read an article for free.
This line, the belief that workers frequently get a raw deal, is an old one. Roughly 200 years of leftist R&D has gone into figuring out how to arrange the government to make it easier for labor to negotiate with management on fair terms. Also old is the idea that health is collective responsibility and giving dignified life to the poor is part of the government's job. The way that he is like both acknowledging these unsolved points, but then calling them tired and boring and like absolutely unaddressed and unworthy of addressing is preposterous. Like, to sit here and go, these are conversations that we've been having for centuries, and like, we haven't solved them.
Oh my God, what about this? This pisses me off. So he points out that Piker is wearing Ralph Lauren, and which greatly enhances the comedic effect. A previous generation of Marxists would dress down, the better to relate to the workers they try to organize at the factory gates. These podcasters are, I suppose, the hard left equivalent of those prosperity gospel preachers who dress rich so that they can give others a vision of something to aspire to. They could not look or sound more unoppressed if they tried. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's what class consciousness is. That's exactly the proof that they do not have to be poor themselves to care about other people. And it turns out that you can still be comfortable and have a nice life and even be wealthy without having people be poor. Like, that's exactly the point. That we don't have to have this great inequality of there's like absolute abject poverty while there's billionaires, and that's the only way to do it. They're basically saying, hey, did you know that you could have like a home and nice clothes and even go on vacations and everyone could be housed and fed? That's like their whole point. There's also just such a great, vast difference between being a billionaire and wearing Ralph Lauren. And like the fact that I assume he would consider himself like pretty fiscally aware. The idea that he wouldn't know the economies of scale here between wearing like a $600, $700, even $1,000 outfit and being a billionaire. The fact that he doesn't know the difference between a high-ranking employee and an owner of a business. Like, why don't these people know anything? Shouldn't you have to know something? The Atlantic. Also, it pisses me off because they keep saying they're like, Piker says he would steal a car if he could get away with it. That's actually not true. Hasan opens the whole thing saying that like once in middle school, he got in trouble for stealing Pokemon cards from a friend. And he got in trouble and it was so traumatic and never stole again for the rest of his life. So he does open specifically saying, I will never steal. And then anything he says to the effect of, well, I would. Good for it. Steal from the Louvre. Who cares? That is them like colloquially trying to change the attitudes that petty theft and individual theft is at all on the scale or as bad as structural theft of big corporations and the invisible ways that like the rich get to steal from the poor all the time.
Yeah. And I think what's so interesting about this coming from non-right-wing writers is the way that they like undermine the entire conversation, the way they continue to like agree with right-wing ideologies and undermine any ability for like left-wing conversation, arguing that like anything that is said that goes against the status quo is like damaging democratic potential, essentially. They love to go on and be like, this is why Democrats lose, is because you have these like undermining leftists who are saying such wild shit that are like so violent to our society. We have to maintain the status quo as hard as we can, when like the right is able to win using that methodology.
I mean, this final paragraph by this Graham Wood is insane to me. Civil disobedience, as Martin Luther King Jr. wrote, should be done openly, lovingly, and with a willingness to accept the penalty, because to be penalized for a righteous act only multiplies the act's merits. You have to break the law proudly, not break it, then run away to another state and get caught with a fake ID in a McDonald's. Getting clubbed because you refuse to use the bathroom designated for your race, that is something your grandchildren will brag that you did. I wonder what's wrong with people who feel they are on an odyssey against a comparable injustice, but who evade responsibility for shoplifting produce. Okay, this idea that like, isn't it great that Black people got beat in a pursuit of like freedom and justice and equality? Wouldn't it be better if they hadn't been? This idea like it's only noble if you're getting the shit beat out of you.
Well, also because in the original interview, Gia Tolentino does specifically say, if it is being done in secret, it's not activism. Like when you're stealing from Whole Foods, like I am not doing activism. It has to be done out in the open. Like she acknowledges that.
100%. And they also are saying our point is that stealing a lemon from Whole Foods does nothing to Whole Foods, whereas Whole Foods gets to steal from people every day and nobody hurts them.
Right.
I think we can all agree that segregated bathrooms should be illegal, that is like a bad thing to do. So this idea that if you're fighting something that's wrong, the only right way to do it is to be like physically injured. Why would you want that to be true? Why wouldn't you want there to be a way that people could do civil disobedience and like be safe?
Well, it's this centrist Democrat thing of like the only progress achieved correctly is the progress we've already achieved.
Exactly. We can look back and be like, it was so wrong, and like look at how hard those guys fought, and that's why every kind of protest is wrong. Looting is wrong because it was only right when we did it against England. And then, oh, if you want to do nonviolent protests, what are you going to block traffic? Well, that's wrong because people have to go to work. Okay, what do you want to do that doesn't hurt anybody? You want to kneel? You can't do that either. You want to tweet? We're going to fire you for not supporting Charlie Kirk. Like, these people never have a good example of how to protest.
Right. Right. And so this piece was called Something is Happening to America's Moral Code by Graham Wood. Another piece. So I was scrolling The Atlantic and I saw this one, and I assumed because that Graham Wood piece that I originally didn't even think we would discuss, I just found it so sniveling and preposterous. I thought, oh, they've published a counter opinion article, which I actually do think it's kind of interesting when publications do that in their opinion sections, when they have one person with like a counterpoint to another opinion piece they've published, right? So I click on this one because I really thought that Graham Wood one was humiliating to have published, but I said, oh, obviously they did it on purpose with a counterpoint to like showcase whatever. This piece is called Theft is Now Progressive Chic by Thomas Chatterton Williams. And it's just the exact same thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to find something different. Tolentino's treatment of sabotage is emblematic of the discussion's overall irresponsibility. She continues, some sort of fire could hypothetically be framed within a collective action that is tactically useful. Piker concurs, sabotage has played a formative role in labor unions. They're completely leaving out the fact that they're referring to the recent fire being lit by an upset employee and how they are like, that act did not help. During the Kenosha, Wisconsin uprising of the summer of 2020, as fires raged nearby, a masked rioter screamed into a camera, "It's Black Lives Matter, not building lives matter." The implication, which was widely accepted at the time on the left, was that property destruction is trivial, but human life is sacrosanct.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you disagree? Point to the building that's more important than your children. Let's play a game with you. What's his name?
Thomas.
Let's sit you down. I'm gonna take a match, and it's the building or the children. You pick.
In such a world, ordinary people become entitled to ignore rules as they see fit. Neither Piker nor Tolentino explicitly endorses violence, but it is a short conceptual bridge from where they sit behind microphones to political murder.
So what he's talking about here is they're talking about the like online glee in response to the Luigi Mangione murder of the healthcare guy, the United CEO.
Yeah, United Healthcare.
Who knows what his name is, huh?
Brian?
Maybe. Yeah, that sounds right. They are hardly like gleeful about the murder, but what they're trying to acknowledge is why were people so happy? And the thing is, analyzing things that have happened does not make you complicit in them. It just makes you like a smart person. So basically, there was an outpouring of understanding and glee in the face of this murder. Why? I don't know, because people have fucking died because of healthcare, because they've been denied healthcare. Their lives have been made miserable by healthcare.
And it's only gotten worse.
This guy is the CEO. He has personally enriched himself off the back of more or less letting people die for his own greed.
I would say more.
And everybody in this fucking country knows it. So when you're saying, well, why are people celebrating? It's because they're just saying, well, probably because a lot of them know that this man is enriching himself off of death. So it seems unfair to say he's allowed to murder for profit, but Luigi can't murder for
I mean, the argument
vendetta.
that these writers are making is that like having millions of dollars should guard you from death, essentially. Like it should guard you from death and danger.
Or that like you're allowed to do it if it's sanitized by a business, but you're not allowed to do it in cold blood. And listen, I don't necessarily think we should live in a world where you get to murder people in cold blood. I also don't think we should live in a world where one dude gets to get a private jet because you died of leukemia for no reason. Like
Right.
For these writers to like ignore that is so preposterous and obtuse and like willful ignorance. And like the way that in order to make Hasan and Gia sound stupid and like ridiculous, I'm like, yeah, I guess you guys can't read. I guess you can't even watch a movie and pick up on what's going on.
So the thing that I find so interesting is that this guy has written a piece recently about like the moral policing of the left eating, like, you know, the classic, like the left won't stop being like the moral purity cops and it's causing them to eat themselves essentially. And there is no way to like sit here and judge like the black and white morals of another. And I think it's so fascinating to have framed this piece as them like objectively advocating for crime while ignoring the crimes of the powerful. Both of these writers, so in the second piece, the one that argued against moral policing, from Thomas Chatterton Williams and the first piece about Hasan Piker from Graham Wood, both of them reference the Tom Cotton op-ed, the one where he advocated for invoking the Insurrection Act against rioters, and like why was he silenced and viewed as like a moral failure essentially for advocating for the Insurrection Act, whereas these people are now sitting here advocating for stealing and like micro looting or whatever they're calling it. And it's so interesting that both of them have like really fixated on this moment. They've like fallen for the Republican "we are silenced" narrative. You know what I mean? And I think that's what you see in the center a lot, is that they're like unable to discern right-wing propaganda from like left-wing conversation.
Well, that's what's so ridiculous about this is like Gia and Hasan weren't invited on to be like, can you think of any good ways to stick it to Whole Foods? And they were like, have we tried little stealing? That's not what happened. The writer said, I have noticed a theme. It seems to speak to the underlying frustration and isolation and like inability for people to like figure out a way to effectively protest. It feels like people are feeling frustrated with what's going on and they don't know how to act. And so this is like some small moment. Can we talk about where that would be coming from, if that's effective, what your thought, like they're just discussing something that already exists. So it's so funny to act like these people basically got out there and said, kill all the CEOs.
Especially when they're both referencing Tom Cotton's op-ed, which does explicitly advocate for violence against citizens. Like that's what that would have done. That's why people were so mad at him. People were saying, how dare you say that people protesting should be met with violence? Peaceful protests shouldn't be met with like state-sanctioned violence. And he's sitting here going, and also they're saying that by people being mad at corporations, it's so weird who they're willing to defend. I guess I find it very important that this is about Hasan Piker. I think that if Gia Tolentino had done this interview, I think there would have been a loud comment section there about it. I think the reason there are op-eds that go beyond the New York Times about this conversation is because Diabolical Lies, actually, their most recent episode was about this. It's about how Democrats are terrified of Hasan Piker. And I think pieces like this only exist to undermine him for like future reporting. Like, I think it exists to sit here and like add to the receipts list of like how many times he's done something that they've deemed like violent or inappropriate for like later presentation. It's like when you're being harassed and they're like, well, you have to report everything. That way, like eventually, if there is legal action you can take, we have a list of previous incidents. Like that is, I feel like, what they're doing with Hasan Piker right now. And it is crazy. It's like this season of Ladies of London.
Sure.
Sure.
That's what I was thinking.
Where like nobody is acting normal. But if you can be the first person to cast the word unseemly at someone, that person is forever trying to get out of that quicksand. And what they're trying to do is like paint him as like an unsavory character that like now can never be trusted with a single opinion. But like he has his own platform so heavily that like I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish other than like the left continuing to eat itself. And I think that there's this narrative that like the full leftists are the ones who are constantly policing liberals, but that is not true. Like that isn't true. You have liberals who refuse to embrace any leftist ideology because they think it's too extreme and they think like it's too dangerous to the status quo that they also profit off of. So they're equally, if not more, because they are the party in power. Like the Democratic establishment is the ruling establishment in like the left-leaning hemisphere. And so for them to like constantly be undermining and freaking out about these little moments is, I think, so dangerous to the entire idea of progress. Anyway.
With that, I think we already did a caps off with Meg.
Yeah, Meg is caps off.
To you guys, good night.
And good noticings.